Have you ever thought about this? Why is it so easy for you to learn something today? You open your phone. You read a few lines. Maybe you watch a video like this. And suddenly, you understand something new. But imagine this. What if learning was difficult? Not because it's hard to understand, but because information itself is hard to find. No books. No internet. No easy access to ideas. Would you still be the same person? Because there was a time when most people lived exactly like that. Before the printing press, books were not something you could just buy. They were rare. And I mean really rare. If you wanted a book, someone had to copy it by hand. Slowly, carefully, page by page. Let me ask you something. Would you spend a year just copying one book? Probably not. And most people didn't. That's why books were expensive. In some cases, one book could cost as much as a house. Yes, a house. So who had access to knowledge? Not everyone. Only the rich, the powerful, the educated elite. And if knowledge is limited, then thinking is limited too. Now imagine living in that world. You don't read. You don't question. You simply accept what others tell you is true. And here's something interesting. If books are copied by hand, they can change. Mistakes happen. Or sometimes, things are changed on purpose. So even knowledge itself was not always stable. Now, this is where things start to shift. Around the early 1400s, in a city called Mainz, in Germany, there was a man named Johannes Gutenberg. Not a king, not a famous thinker, just a man who worked with metal. He was a goldsmith, which means he knew how to shape things very precisely, very carefully. And one day, like many of us do, he looked at the world and thought, there has to be a better way. Because copying books by hand, it was just too slow. Now here's the key idea. And it sounds simple, but at that time, it was revolutionary. Instead of writing letters, what if each letter was its own object? Think about it like Lego. Small pieces. You arrange them into words. You press them onto paper. And then you reuse them. Sounds obvious now, right? But back then, no one had done it this way. And this is where his skill mattered. Because making one letter is easy. Making hundreds of letters, all the same size, perfectly aligned, that's very difficult. So Gutenberg experimented. different metals, different shapes. He failed many times. Imagine the frustration. Things not fitting, ink not working, letters breaking. But he didn't stop. Eventually, he found the right combination. A mixture of lead, tin, and antimony. Strong enough, flexible enough. Then came another problem. Ink. Normal ink was too watery. It wouldn't stick properly to metal. So he had to invent a new kind of ink. Thicker, oil-based. Now think about this. He wasn't just inventing one thing. He was building a whole system. Letters, ink, machine. Everything had to work together. And then, the final piece. Pressure. How do you press the letters onto paper evenly? Here's the part one love. He looked at a wine press. Yes. A machine used to press grapes. And he thought, what if I use this for printing? So he adapted it and built a machine that could apply steady, even pressure. Now imagine this moment. After years of work, trial and error, frustration, doubt. You arrange the letters. You apply the ink. You press the machine. And then you lift the paper. And there it is. Words. Clear. Consistent. Repeatable. For the first time in history, writing becomes mechanical. Now let me ask you something. If you could suddenly copy a book not once, but dozens of times, what would happen? Everything. Books became more available. Still not cheap like today, but cheaper. More people could read. More people could learn. And once people start learning, they start thinking. And once they start thinking, they start asking questions. This is where things get interesting. Because when ideas spread, power changes. Before printing, those in control of knowledge controlled everything. But now, ideas could move from one city to another, from one person to thousands. And here's something powerful. Once an idea is printed, it's hard to stop. You can destroy one copy, but what about hundreds? This is why the printing press was not just an invention. It was a shift. It helped movements grow. It helped people question authority. It helped knowledge escape control. And not everyone liked that. Of course. Because imagine this. You're used to controlling information. And suddenly, you can't anymore. That's uncomfortable. Now here's something surprising. Gutenberg himself didn't become rich. He borrowed money to build his printing press. And at one point, he couldn't pay it back. So his investor sued him, and he lost. He lost his workshop, his equipment, even control of his invention. Let that sink in for a moment. The man who changed the world didn't get to fully enjoy the success. So let me ask you, would you still do it if you knew you might not benefit from it? Because Gutenberg did. And his idea, it didn't stop. Other people saw it, copied it, improved it. Printing spread across Europe. Books became more common. Education expanded. And slowly, the world became more connected. Today, we don't think about this. We just read, scroll, learn. But everything we have now started from that moment. A man, a workshop, a simple idea. Words should not be limited. They should be shared. And maybe that's the real power of the printing press. Not the machine, but the idea behind it. Because once knowledge is free, people change. And when people change, the world follows. So next time you read something, even just a few words, remember this. There was a time when words were rare. And someone decided they shouldn't be.